Hi guys, I'm Retro Critic here, and today we're going to talk about the next game in the series, and that's Crash Bandicoot 2 Cortex Strikes Back. Now in this game, this is a sequel to the first Crash game, and after the success of the first Crash game, they're like, hey, why not make a sequel? And that's where it is. And that's how this game came to be. And now we're going to play that game now. So guys, let's play Crash Bandicoot 2 Cortex Strikes Back.
So the game opens up where it left off from the first game. And yes, this game literally opens up where it exactly left off from the first game. And it's after Cortex is defeated by falling off to the ground. And in the sky, he goes down to the ground. So in this game, Cortex later lands in a cave full of crystals. So later Cortex finds the crystals, and when Cortex found the crystals and he realizes he can use them to his advantage, then Cortex creates a new layer. And this new layer is in space, and he creates a new space station. And now Cortex wants to use his crystals to his own advantage so he can rule the world. Cortex has a new sidekick called Dr. Engine, who is like his new lackey now. So Cortex and Engine wants to use the crystals for their laser machine. So I think the crystals are used to power the laser. The crystals are used to power up the laser machine, and the crystals are the key for that. And Cortex wants to use his laser from space, and he wants to use the crystals for that kind of special energy for his laser to shoot in space. In other words, Cortex in his space layer will use his machine to shoot the Earth. So that's the story of the game. And so more on the story. So then the game cuts to Crash and his sister Coco. And it's the first time we are introduced to Crash's sister Coco. And then it's Crash. And then Crash is with Aku Aku. And Crash and Aku Aku are on a adventure now. And here's more on the story. So Crash's sister Coco is introduced for the first time. And when we were first with Crash's sister Coco, I got the idea that the creators of the game wanted a more kind, friendly female character because I guess the other one was too inappropriate for children. This is one where the previous female character was too inappropriate, too sexy, I think. And wow, she was sexy. She was way too sexy, and I guess it was too, not mature for children. And that's why they have a more kid-friendly version. I think that's why the creators added this new character in. So then we cut to Crash and Aku Aku, and then Crash and Aku Aku looks like they are going to have an adventure. So then Aku Aku and Crash stumbles upon this hub world, and in this hub world, Aku Aku and Crash enters it, and all of a sudden, a hologram Cortex appears, and Cortex creates this hub world for his location. Cortex wants to challenge Crash, and so he can have his vengeance on him. And after his hologram was done, the game starts, and the levels of the game start to open. So here it is, and here we go. And now it's up to Aku Aku and Crash to save the world again. So that's the story of the game. So now the gameplay of the game. So the gameplay is interesting. So I do think it's interesting. I do like it. The gameplay has improved from the first game, and the gameplay has gotten better. The gameplay has improved from the first game, and the gameplay has clearly gotten better. It's more enjoyable to play. And it's great, and it's fun to play. And I always like it, and it's pretty much good to play. And it's a very smooth to play, and it's very polished. So that's my thoughts on the gameplay, and that's how I feel about the gameplay overall. So now, what's interesting about this game is that it has a new kind of interesting hub world. In the first game, didn't really have a hub world. The first game instead had only this map where you explore and go into different worlds. The first game had this map to go to worlds to explore and start the level. And that's what the first game had, but what the first game didn't really had was a hub world. I do find it cool that this game added a hub world to go to each level to go to. All the levels of the game are more fast-paced and challenging. There are many obstacles and boxes you have to hit, and there's many things to collect. In each level, there are many challenges and obstacles standing in your way and boxes to hit. And you need to collect many items in every level. And in all the levels, you have to hit all the boxes to collect the crystals and gems. And that's because when you hit all the boxes, and then that's how it unlocks the crystals and the gems. The crystals and the gems. The crystals and the gems. And that's how you collect them in the game. And that's how you collect them. And that's how you collect them in this game. Now, this game has improved a lot. This game has gotten better and improved greatly. This game is more challenging, but less hard and more easy. And in fact, it can be a little difficult sometimes. So this game can be challenging in some places. It can be difficult in a lot of times, but this game is a bit more easy from the last one, but the game can be a lot more hard now in a few levels and obstacles. So now more on the levels. The levels are interesting, and they can be even more difficult, and this game is even more harder than ever. So now onto the bosses. The bosses in this game are interesting and entertaining to play, and I think they're challenging but also a bit easy fights. I do think these fights can be hard only in a few places, but really the boss fights are easy most of the time. And only when you get used to it and get the gist of it, then it becomes easy, and it's more easier as you play it and become pro at it. The stages in this game are very good, and it has ice worlds and sewer pipelines. And like the new worlds in this game are ice worlds, and there are sewer pipelines with electricity water. Like there's electricity on the water to make it more hard and dangerous. And there are new mountains and jungles, and there are new mountains and new jungle areas to explore and jump from. And they have a difficult obstacles attacking you, and there's dangerous obstacles that are out of your way attacking you, and you have to find a way to come around it. And then you have to go through many challenging stages in the game, and you have to fight your way through many tough stages in the game. In this game, they add more things to collect, like silver gems and platinum relics. Like first, these silver gems are like similar to the crystals, but in gem form. Like it has the same kind of color of the crystals, but in the gem style. And now the platinum relics, these are like relics, but with time trials. That's right, in this game you have to get relics, but in a time trial to get them. And that's technically the only way to collect them in this game. And let me tell you, in this game it's hard. So now in this game, Crash gets a new kind of deaths. And what do I mean by that? Well, in the first game, if Crash dies, it's just generic death. And it's just a typical death in the game. And that's it. And that's it for the way he dies in the first game. But in Crash 2, the game added more features to the way he dies. Like in the way he dies, they add more styles and features when he dies, and they add basically more animations when Crash dies. So that's fun and dandy, and so that's funny when you think about it. So now there is the Runaways. And in the Runaways, Crash runs away from something new. And like instead of a boulder chasing you, it instead is a giant polar bear chasing you. And I have to admit, that's actually kind of a cool nature in the game. And I have to admit, that's kind of a cool feature in the game. It makes it even more challenging, and I do find it interesting that instead of a boulder, it's a giant polar bear that's chasing you. And I do find that to be pretty hilarious and nice when you think about it, and it is more hard. And it is more hard in the first game. And like in the first game, they make it more difficult in the sequel. And Crash 2 is bigger and badder. And Crash 2 is more tough and hard. And Crash 2 is more bigger, badder, and Crash 2 is more tough and hard. So besides the boulder and the bear, and I know I do miss a boulder change. I know I do miss the boulder change. But to be also honest, I actually also like a bear chasing you. And I do miss a boulder chasing you, but to be also honest, I actually also like a bear chasing you. It's actually more fun and it's intimidating when I play it. And I don't know, it makes it a bit more creepy and it's enjoyable when I go through those levels in the game. And also in this game, you have to collect the gems and silver gems and platinum relics and the crystals to unlock the next level to complete the game. And now, like from the last game, you have to hit all the boxes to get the crystals and the gems. And that's because you do need to literally hit all the boxes in the game to get them. And there's a time you have to find the boxes and go everywhere in the game to find them and hit them. After you hit them, they unlock the items, so you unlock and collect the item. And after you collect them, you have to also unlock the next world to do so. And that's all because so you can complete this game. So now the silver gems. Well, what you have to do is just hit the boxes. And yeah, that's right. Just hit the boxes, like all the boxes. And all I have to do is just hit the boxes. And you also have to do is you have to go to the bonus stages to do that. And that's where you will find them. And yeah, you have to find these things. And finding them takes a while, what you have to do. So you have to go to the bonus levels in the game. And that's where you will find them. And it's a rare way of getting them. And it's to find them in the game anyway. To go through your way to just get them. And trust me, finding them is not easy. And I believe somewhere that you have to go to the bonus levels to do so, and I think that you have to go through all the bonus levels to do that. And that's how you will have to pass this game. And so now, the other thing I have to say about this game is that about the platinum relics, oh my god, these things are hard. You have to go to a time trial to get them. And trust me, doing a time travel in this game is hard as hell. About this game is that you have to get the platinum relics, and oh my god, these things are hard. You have to go do a time trial to get them. Trust me, doing a time travel in this game is hard as hell. And it's hell to play in this game. And Jesus, it's hard and tough. And Jesus, it's hard and tough. I went crazy and it's very difficult. I went crazy and it's very difficult. And it's very challenging. I think you will go insane of the difficulty and the toughness to go through this game. And I think you'll go insane of the difficulty and the toughness in this game. Of how difficult and the toughness you go through in this game. Difficult and toughness go through this game. And really that's the only way that you have to do to pass this game. Difficult and tough. Difficult, insane, and how difficult and the toughness to go through this. Insane and difficult, the toughness and how to go through this game. Insane and toughness to go through. And the difficulty, pass and go. and the difficult, and just insane how tough and how difficult and the toughness go through this game. It's insane just how like difficult and the toughness to go through this game. And really, that's the only way what you have to do to pass this game. There are lots of new and interesting worlds in Crash 2. And for example, there are sewer levels, space levels, and more jungle areas. And there are tons of jungly levels in the game. In Crash 2, there are many new levels in the game and more worlds added in. And for example, there are tons of levels where you have a electric sewer with water, where in there's water where they have electricity that will zap you and make it more difficult to play it. And then there are space levels, and there are space stations, and yes, that's right, there are space station levels in this game. And there are many snow levels, like there are a ton of snow levels, and there are snowy ice levels. In the one snowy levels, there are ice stages in the game, and in the ice stages there are lots of ices in the world's levels in the game. And that's all the worlds in the game, and that's all what the levels are like. And they are very interesting in the game play in. This game is hard, and I mean it's really hard. The game Crash 2 is the most difficult game I ever played. Crash 2 is one of the most toughest games out there that I ever played. So then let's get to the bosses. Well, the bosses are pretty entertaining and hard, and very challenging. These bosses are very fun to play. The bosses in the game are fun and enjoyable to play, and they're very hard to beat. The bosses of the game are tough to beat, and when you fight them, you get used to their moves. And I got to say, most of them are pretty easy at first, and they are easy in the first place, and they really get harder as you play, and you'll get used to them, and you get used to their moves, but most of them are pretty investing to play, and fighting them is interesting. And when you fight them, it is enjoyable and entertaining, really, and they're easy at first, and well, the first few bosses are easy, but the later bosses to get harder and harder. And so that's the bosses in the game, and that's what I think about the bosses in the game overall. So then later Crash confronts Cortex, and then Crash fights Cortex, and I got to say, Cortex's boss fight is really just average, really. And the boss battle is a bit more tough than the first game, and it's a lot more harder than the first game. Then Crash later defeats and destroys Cortex. And after his defeat, and after he was destroyed, and he fallen down again and collapses. And like he literally falls down to his doom again, like in the first game. And later in this game, Crash saves the world, and that's what happened in this game. Crash then saved the world. Everything goes back to normal, and the world is safe again. But wait, there's more. So in the end of the game, if you get all the gems, and when you use all the gems, it'll help Dr. Brio. And yes, that's right, Crash helps out Brio. Because I guess he and Cortex had a falling out, or something. And I guess he wants to have payback on Cortex or something, I don't know. But Crash gives all the gems to Dr. Brio, and if you collect all the gems for him, he'll set up his laser machine. And yes, that's right, he built a laser machine. And he's going to use it to help Crash. And then so Dr. Brio sets up his laser machine, and starts to use his laser machine to help Crash. And after Crash helps Brio, and then Crash jumps on this button, and then the laser zaps Cortex's space station. And because the space station was also going to target and zap the Earth, and then his space station was destroyed. So basically, Crash saved the Earth before it was being destroyed in the first place. And that's the ending of the game. Crash saves the day again, and everything goes back to normal, and that's where the game truly ends there. So now, what I find pretty interesting is that when the game starts to end, and then when we see the end credits of the game, you can hear Cortex's evil laugh. You can hear Cortex's evil laugh, and it's almost like it's implying he will return, and in another sequel, which I found to be pretty creepy and chilling. It's almost like it's implying that he will return, and he'll be back in another sequel, because he'll be back in the sequel even bigger and stronger. And I have to say that's creepy, and chilling, and spooky, and frightening. And I think it's hinting is that he'll be bigger and stronger, and like the threat is worse in the next game. And that's the ending of the game. That's where the game really starts to end there. And that's all what I have to say. And that's pretty much all what I have to say on that front, and as a whole, so on and so forth.
So that was Crash Bandicoot 2 Cortex Strikes Back. So guys, I give Crash Bandicoot 2 Cortex Strikes Back a 7 out of 10. And actually, I want it to be a 8 out of 10. So guys, I'm Retro Critic, and I'm out. And I'll see you guys later, and I'll see you guys around. Take care. So guys, stay tuned for the next video. And next time, I'll be reviewing the third installment of the trilogy, and that's Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped. So guys, stay tuned for the next video. And next time, I'll be reviewing Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped. Peace out, and bye.